she's house sitting for her daughter in Cross Lane, so she's not going to get to be with us tonight or Sunday.
Okay.
So keep her in your prayers. She's going to miss being here with us, and we're going to miss her.
Yep.
I'm not looking forward to it, but.
And I have a trip for school, going on a training in Philadelphia, but I'm leaving Saturday. I won't be back till. Yeah.
May not get back.
Well, let's pray that I get back.
Exactly.
You know, there's a bad thing going on in Philadelphia.
Everybody's telling me these bad things.
I mean, I heard
We
about it.
might not approve this, tree.
Honestly, though, there's bad things going on
It's true.
everywhere.
There's 3 different places that they said over the news that they had killings
Yeah.
over July, 4th of July.
Oh, gosh.
Just don't go to any street parties.
I won't go to any
Okay.
parties.
No need any real questions.
Okay, I'll try not to. I will leave my panel.
Remember, McGraw family where Tuffy died?
Yeah.
Sheila and them will be having, Daisy stuff Saturday, right?
Funeral Friday.
Yeah, Tuffy's funeral's Friday over at Jody.
I talked with Sheila and asked her what the church could do, because Sheila does a lot of stuff for us here. And offer different things. Their church is going to fix the things to go with the meal. They're going to have like a cookout type thing. And I offered for our church to get the plates and plasticware and napkins and stuff like that. So, yeah. So,
They said they wasn't gonna have no dinner after. They didn't want that.
Well, that's good.
If that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, that's good to me. I'm just glad we can help her out some, because she does, well, she helps a lot of people.
she does.
Well, she's came here and helped us with Bible school
Yeah.
and things. Well, actually, a couple of the dinners we had for families, she came and helped.
So, my daughter, Brianna, is moving back. Not in my house, but in Charleston. Her and her husband are moving back to Charleston. My mom says it's definite. So, just be praying for all that transition. They're both supposed to be working for my dad. In a pretty good position. And, I just pray for God's will and all that. But I'm happy.
Yep.
Matthew was very upset.
It's halfway to the beach too.
Just remember Ronnie too. I don't know what all Ronnie's got going on. I haven't got to talk to him, but let's just remember him. I know I don't know what he want me to say, but let's just remember Ronnie. So,
You're missing your other half.
yeah, they're at the campground. So they're camping all week. Somebody's got to go to work and make money, and that's me. So, but I'd still be here no matter what, whether I was camping or not. But yeah, they're there. They're all right. Just taking them vacation.
Elaine has her appointment tomorrow.
Yeah.
Remember to pray for her for that.
Got work, his wife's due next Thursday. So, just praying. I told him I'd do the prayer. He's a great guy to have. He's a good Christian. We talk all the time. I tell her we have church every day. You know, it's really nice to have him, fellow brother.
Yeah.
So,
It makes a difference.
yeah.
Anybody else? All right. Well, if not, let's each one go to prayer, and we'll just lead our own prayer tonight. Dear Heavenly Father, we approach that throne of grace once again this evening, dear Lord. We just thank you for the opportunity to be able to come out to your house tonight, dear Lord. I just thank you for the church that we do have here, dear Lord. I just pray that you be with each one that's not here tonight, dear Lord. Let their light shine wherever that you've got them tonight, dear Lord. We pray that you be with each one of these prayer requests and families close to us here is dealing with death and things, dear Lord, I just pray that you come down and comfort them and take them through the situation and things, dear Lord. I just pray that you be with each one that spoke to a prayer request tonight, dear Lord. You know that you could just touch them, you know, be with Ray as he went through his appointment today, and as Elaine goes tomorrow, I just pray that you be with her and be with the doctor, and that you got the doctor's hands, dear Lord, you know that you can take care of it. Pray that you be with Brooke, dear Lord, as she goes on this journey, dear Lord, with her sickness. I just pray that you can take care of it, dear Lord. I know that you moved it away from me, and I just pray that you can do that too, uplift their spirits, and just calm them, dear Lord, just help them through it. I pray that you just be with the church, dear Lord, that we can continue to stay on fire for you, that we can just continue to grow and do the things that we need to do, dear Lord, you know, as we look to just do different things with working on the building and all these things that we do, and the plays and the programs and the Bible schools and things that we do. I just pray that we can keep it on top, we can keep it on fire, and just keep it building, and, you know, be with the churches around about us and the pastors that's leading them also, dear Lord, just that you can hold them up. I pray that you be with us Sunday as we have service and travel to the nursing home and things, dear Lord, that you know, that we could be a light there, dear Lord, and that somebody could see if there is somebody there that needs Jesus, dear Lord, or they have a need for Jesus. I just pray that they can find him, and most of all tonight, if there's somebody here that needs something tonight, I just pray that you just reach down and comfort and wrap your arms around them, dear Lord, and just give them what they need. I just thank you for everything that you do. I thank you for the words that you give us to say, dear Lord, that you could just move us out of the way and just use us the way that only you can, dear Lord. I pray that you continue just to pour the Holy Spirit out on this church, dear Lord, just the power that you have, and that you could just keep us lifted up, take care of each family that's represented here tonight, dear Lord. Let all their needs be met, dear Lord, whether it's physical or financial or anything that goes on, dear Lord. I just pray that you can help each one, dear Lord. Just bless us, and we'll never forget to just thank you for everything that you do for us. And thank you for sending Jesus, and thank you for this church, and just thank you for all the blessings and things that you do in our lives, dear Lord. And we just pray and we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Y'all want to sing a song? Or I kind of forgot. Again. I'm getting bad about that, ain't I? Ray and Lynn was sitting up here the other night and I forgot about it. So, yeah, that's really bad. So, but I guess we can just move on into Mike's. We'll put Mike to work here now.
Get the computers out. I don't know how long this one's going to last. It might not last very long, so we'll see. I try to get them spaced out to where I think it'll at least go throughout the evening there, and we'll see how much time we got. You got ears? All right. What to do with this? Do that. Let's see here. Ski. It would be slide 90. There. Oh, thank you. Oh, there it is. I'm back here hiding. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Slide 90? Yes, sir. So we're still in Daniel. Last week we were talking about the countdown and the time frame, and we'll be in 9:25 there, and we'll get this up and see what we can do here. Here we go. Okay, so now the countdown begins. Got the old egg timer there. Yeah. And we determined that it was the month of Nisan in Nehemiah, and not Toyota, like I said last week, but Nisan. But 444 BC. And here's our timeline. Over here on the, let me get this up here. On the left-hand side there, that's Daniel's prophecy of 538 BC. And then we see Artaxerxes' command, March 5th, 444 BC. And then, as we calculated the days, 173,880 days, which is 483 years of 360-day years, brings us to March 30th, 33 AD, Messiah the Prince. And I want you to remember that, the Prince, okay? Because that's important. That's what Daniel says. And you'll understand that here in a little bit. Okay, so what happened March 30th, 33 AD? Let's see here. It was the week of the Passion is what's going on here. And, like I said about these dates, it's close. It's really, really close. There's two times in Jesus's time frame here that the week of the Passion could be. It could be 30 AD, it could be 33 AD. With what Nehemiah says, with what Daniel's prophesied, we get this date here. So it like I said, it's close. I wish it could be a definite. I wish the Bible would put the exact dates, but it's things we have to kind of figure out. There's a little bit of a snippet of this and a little bit of this, and and like we did last week, we had to try to figure out the 360-day years, okay, the 30-day months, and we did that in Genesis, we did that in Revelation. So what we're getting at here is, many times during Jesus' ministry, the people tried to set him up as king of the Jews. Okay, we see this a lot, and he just kind of slips out of the crowd, and he goes off, But many times they would try to do this. Jesus wouldn't allow them to do it. Okay, he would do miracles, and he would tell the person what. He would always say one or two phrases. He would heal someone, and then what would he tell them? Does anyone know? Yeah, don't tell anybody. Yeah, the time is not yet. My time is not yet. Words from Jesus. He would say, tell no one, my time has not yet come. And we see this, in Matthew 8:4, Mark 3:12, Matthew 9:30, Luke 8:56, and many others. He says, my hour is not yet, my hour, my time. He says all these things. Matthew 8:29, John 2:4, John 7:30. You want to write them down? I didn't know if you were writing those down.
I forgot my book today.
No, okay. I didn't know. I just want to make sure everybody had time to write them down. But if you read the Gospels, they're in there. It's all through there. He says this. You know, don't tell anybody. You know, it's kind of odd, isn't it? You know, but as we see here, even Jesus knows that God is not random. He knows the Father has a plan and a perfect timing. So, wait a minute, don't do that. Mess up my PowerPoint here. March 30th, 33 AD, what does Jesus do? It's recorded in all 4 Gospels. He does this. On this day, Jesus arranged the thing that he told the people not to do. And what did he do? Luke 19:28 through 44 is where we'll be. And let's see what the scriptures say about the timing of this Daniel 9:25 prophecy. Okay? And tonight, I'm going to read this. If hopefully I can. I'll give you guys a break. I'll make you read all the time. So, and we are Luke 19:28 through 44. And like I said, this is recorded in all the Gospels, but we're going to read it in Luke. 28. When he had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. And it came to pass, when he came near to Bethphage and Bethany, at the mount called Olivet, that he sent 2 of his disciples, saying, Go into the village opposite you, where as you enter you will find a colt tied, on which no one has ever sat. Loose him and bring him here. And if anyone asks you why you are loosening him, thus you shall say to him, Because the Lord has need of him. So those who were sent departed and found it just as he had said to them. But as they were loosening the colt, the owners of it said to them, Why are you loosening the colt? And they said, The Lord has need of him. Then they brought him to Jesus, and they threw their own garments on the colt, and they set Jesus on him. And as they went, they spread their clothes on the road. Then, as he was now drawing near the descent of the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to rejoice and praise God with a loud voice for all the mighty works they had seen, saying, Blessed is the King. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest. I'm going to stop right there. So we can see, blessed is the King. So now Messiah, the Prince, the people are recognizing him as, his disciples are recognizing him as the King. All right? So, I want to just go back in Psalms 118, 24 through 30, or 24 and 26, basically say this. This is the day that the Lord has made. That means so much more to me now. This day, Jesus' time, Jesus' hour has not come, but on this day the Lord has made. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. So, we go on. Hosanna. They're saying, blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna. I think there's even songs that we sing about Hosanna. Jesus, you are my King. Come now, save now. This is what's going on. These people are shouting. They're putting their palm branches down. They're putting their clothes down. So he can walk. So the donkey can walk in as the king. And so what else do we see here? We see in Zechariah 9:9, it says, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. He is just," or innocent, "and having salvation, lowly, and riding on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey." Prophesied in Zechariah, Messiah. How do you say that word? I can't remember. But it's a prophecy about the Messiah. Okay? Messianic. Thank you. You know, he is just. This is the week of the Passion. Was Jesus, unjust? Did he have sin? No. He was just. He was innocent. And he's having salvation. So we have salvation because he's going to be, sacrificed for our sins. Okay? So, all this is going on. And, of course, the disciples are there. Well, guess who else, is there? The Pharisees are there. Okay? So, let's continue to read in 39 there. "And some of the Pharisees called to him from the crowd, 'Teacher, rebuke your disciples.' But he answered and said to them, 'I tell you that if these should keep silent, the stones would immediately cry out.'"
There's nothing stopping it, is what he's saying.
Do you think this is an important day? Is this is just blows my mind. This is, I would say the most important day in Jerusalem. The stones would cry out. Let me get moving on here. And now the sad part. "Now as he drew near, he saw the city and wept over it, saying, 'If you had known, even you, especially in this your day, the things that make for your peace, but now they are hidden from your eyes.'" The Jewish leaders rejected the Messiah, the King. Jesus' heart was broken. This is so sad. It's terrible. His chosen people. He comes in triumphant from a prince to a king, and by the end of the week, they're shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." Jesus' heart is broken for his people. Then we go on. Let me move down here. Jesus wept over the city. He said this was their day. They missed it. They could have no peace, or they could have had peace, but not now. And we continue.
As I said, think about this in the prophecy and what you're rolling out right in front of our eyes. That was what they knew. They knew those scriptures.
They knew it.
Frontwards and backwards.
They knew it. They
And
knew it.
It's not as if this is just hindsight that we
Yeah.
can see this. They lived it. They
Yep.
lived that, and still
They missed it. Totally blinded. I don't know if you guys remember, but if you watch The Chosen like we watch it a lot, they'll say in there, you'll catch one of them. I can't remember which episode. I wish I could remember which one it is, but it says, well, it's like every week we're having someone proclaim they're the Messiah. because of the Daniel 9:20-25 prophecy. And it's like, I have to try to look that up. But if you're watching The Chosen, watch for that, or try to listen for that, because it's in there somewhere. And it's interesting, but it's the truth. They should have known.
I think they had an idea, but they had the wrong idea. They thought he was gonna come in a different way.
That's right.
Like as rich and.
Yes. As a king.
Yeah.
As a king, as a warrior, as the Lion of Judah. That's what they wanted. They wanted the lion.
With peace.
Huh? What?
Christ conquers with peace.
He did.
Instead of with an army.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A battle is what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad not to recognize it. But we have this same opportunity now.
That's exactly
as
right.
we witness to people.
Yeah.
That the king is coming and nobody will listen.
Yeah. That's right.
That's why it's important, right?
This is why this is very important. So yes, very good.
What was it?
They were almost hoping to be like a previous king, if you look at like Saul or David
Yeah.
or the others, where they came in and they had the sword.
Yeah.
They would lay down the enemies.
Yeah.
And this wasn't what that was supposed to be, though. That's just what they wanted it to be.
Yeah, because very good,
But if
reference
you-
there.
that Reference there with, with the donkey.
You can't miss that.
Attention.
And that's the reason why the Pharisees were so mad. That's why they said that. They said, rebuke your disciples. But good, when you mention that about Saul and David, and all they can hear is that Saul has killed his thousands, David has killed his tens of thousands, the Messiah will come and wipe out the entire Roman, army.
Well, the Romans were worried, I feel like, because they thought that somebody was gonna come and knock them out of their throne or knock them out of their control.
Yeah.
And take over, so they were real nervous about this.
Yeah, and we'll see that this first coming on a donkey, next coming, not so much, So it's going to be, it's going to be a lot better, and there's nobody going to miss it. So, alrighty. So we get to this, let me go ahead and read the rest of this here. 43 and 44. For the days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment around you, surround you, and close you in on every side, and level your station. They should have known this, like you all said. It was prophesied 483 years ago,
I wonder what that
and you missed it.
about the build and embankment.
We'll get to that in just a second. You're always jumping ahead of me. But anyway, so yeah, I wish I would have made that a little bit bigger. So I think we've already discussed this. How did the Jews miss this? It was, just like everyone said, they knew the scriptures they had. Of course, they didn't have the canon that we have, but they had the Old Testament, What's that?
You almost think I wrote that script right there because I just said those very same things.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was coming up, but it was like that just hit me. It was like,
Yeah.
how could they not know?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. How could they miss this? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that they missed this. And so important, that we study the scriptures and we don't miss,
They kind of had to, though.
That's true.
because then we get grafted in,
Yeah.
so. But God is not random. He has his plan, that none should perish, even us Gentiles, so. Why were they so blinded and not able to see the truth? I think we went over that.
That's the same way it is today.
Yeah. We get stuck in the same thing they got stuck in. They were so focused on legalism and traditions. Like you said about David, Saul, They were about the law, and like, the conquering, the Lion of Judah. That's what they wanted, They wanted someone to come in and conquer, get rid of the Romans, set up the kingdom. I mean, they knew it was going to be an everlasting kingdom because they had the prophecy of the metal man, with the gold head, the arms, the bronze and the clay and the iron, and the rock was going to come in. The rock, Jesus was going to come in and smash that to bits, and turn it to powder, and then set up an everlasting kingdom. All right. But Jesus, what does Jesus say about his kingdom? There's just a little bonus here. What does Jesus say about his kingdom? What he said, a couple times, I think. It's not of this world. Yeah, he says his kingdom is not of this world. Okay, how can we prevent the same mistakes they made?
Getting stuck on,
What's that?
just gonna say, getting stuck on the details.
Yeah. Or getting stuck on one detail, and not taking it as a whole. So.
But the world wants somebody that says all kinds of flowery things.
Yeah.
Like sweet and peaceful.
Yep.
And, that's what they want in their being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And they don't acknowledge something that draws your heart into a conviction.
Yeah.
Because that makes you feel bad because
Yeah.
you've sinned. And nobody
Yeah.
wants to admit that.
That's
right?
exactly right. That is exactly right.
In an age where everybody has to be very careful about not offending somebody else, and somebody else is not equal with somebody else, and
Right.
that's,
Right.
they don't want to hear things that are, like, you can get in big trouble if you say something that's offensive. And a lot of times, the
You don't
Bible.
know it's offensive though sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think the rules change every day.
they
So,
do. Some things you said yesterday, if you say it today, gosh,
yeah.
they'll escort you out of the place.
And that one time, when the Black Lives Matter thing was going on, I heard somebody say, well, all lives matter. And he got fired for that. I was like, what?
No, all lives do matter
That's
though.
not true. It was my lifetime. But anyway. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Because you didn't, no, because you're not specifically looking toward whatever that group that,
Because they have a concern about one thing, and being offended. One thing only. And they're, stuck on themselves.
Yeah, but my point though was that in the Bible is offensive in itself. Whenever it points out sin, then people don't want to hear that.
No.
I mean, and I don't want to take away from the fact that we have a loving God, because I think we do.
Yeah.
But a loving, it's just like a parent. It's like, as a parent, if my child had disobeyed, and she did, from time to time, and I had to correct her, then, I was a mean old mom because, I, took away her right for this, or,
Yeah.
Wouldn't let her go out and play, or come out of her room, or, which was not true because her room was so good that if she was going to be punished, she had to come and sit in the family room with us. That was the punishment. But my point being is that but God does us the same way.
Yeah. Correction.
When we,
Yeah.
Get out of line, He
Mhm.
will pull us back in, and it doesn't always feel good.
No.
In fact, it doesn't feel good at all,
No.
depending on how far we stagger out.
Yep, definitely.
We don't like correction nowadays.
Yeah.
People get defensive and they don't want to hear instruction, and it's just.
Oh, we're all right,
Yeah.
We're
But
right about everything, and so are you, and, it's the way it's all.
yeah, you're talking about modern day issues, and you could see how easily people could get blinded when they don't know the difference between a male and a female. If you're mind cannot, figure that one out, then it's just, you've got some kind of, I don't know.
It's a deception, I think, that the devil is coming into the world and is going to deceive many.
Yeah.
No, he's on the offense, the devil is, I mean, he is, and you can see that in all these things that are happening
Oh,
in
yeah.
the world that
Yeah.
take Christ out of it,
Yep.
Even Adam and Eve knew the difference between male and female.
Yeah. And that's something God set up in the beginning. You look at the hard, whatever.
We're rebuking him.
Yeah. But that's it, and marriage, between a man and a woman, they, the devil likes to tear those things down.
But I was thinking too, like, at that time, people listened to other people a lot, it seemed like. It's like they were really easily persuaded one way or another way. Like whichever way the crowd was going.
Well, here, the thing of it is too, was a lot that, they weren't educated, okay? A lot of them did not read. They would go to the temple and they would be read to, but they never really got a chance to read, the scriptures that they had.
Yeah, there's saying people that were saying Hosanna ended up saying Hosanna. How can you go from 1 week to that?
Well, I'm not sure of that now. It says, doesn't it say that his disciples did all this, okay? And he had more people than just, the 12, So there was more, it's not, they weren't technically disciples, but they were followers of him. And they followed him from all over the place, around. But, I don't know if that was just them that did this. Maybe it was some of the city. I don't know. We don't know. But it says that they, they brought the colt to Jesus, and they threw their garments on, and they sat Jesus on him. So it's very significant right there where it says that they did that. They set him up as king. Because he kept telling them, don't do this. Don't tell anybody. He do all these miracles. Don't do anything. Don't say anything. He would even rebuke the demons. And there's places there where, the demon cried out and say, what do you have to do with us or something? It isn't our time. You're about going to the abyss, so, there's other things. And he rebuked the demon and just told him to come out of him, to be silent, and then come out.
He didn't let them talk.
Yes, he didn't let them talk because they knew who he was. So anyway, how can we avoid making these same mistakes concerning the second coming of Jesus?
We're just talking,
Pretty much so. So
making sure you know what the Bible says.
what's
What
that?
we're doing right now.
Yeah, just study. Like the verse that I read first in Revelation. Chapter 1, verse 3, blessed is he who reads and those who hear the words of this prophecy and keep those things which are written in it, for the time is near. Blessed are you. So.
I think a lot of the people that maybe, I don't know, Christians and non-Christians or what they are, but I think sometimes people just hear bits and pieces of Revelation and they go with it, like the
Yeah.
666 thing or the mark of the beast, they make their own.
We just pull out pieces of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just like we do in everything.
Yeah,
We just pick out what we want to focus on.
But if we could see, and I hope you guys are seeing, that all this stuff meshes together.
It does.
It's all right there. It's not always talking about the end times. There's a lot of other stuff in here, but 27% of the time it's talking about prophecy. So almost
How do you get 27%?
because that's it. Huh? Because a scholar figured that out. 27% of the Bible is prophecy. You know,
I thought you had just done
you
that.
thought I was just picking a number out of the air. No.
In that
No.
verse in Revelation that you just read,
Uh-huh.
I have a notation in the study Bible. It says, where it says, "Blessed are they that read it." It says there are 7 beatitudes in Revelation. This is the first, and it tells where the others were found.
Oh, okay. That's
And
cool.
John wanted the book read at once and preferably aloud in the churches.
Yeah. No longer was Daniel supposed to seal it up.
Yeah.
You know, remember that phrase back in chapter 12, which we're going to be going to. But yeah, it's opened up for everyone. You know, so the last two verses here, 43 and 44. I just want to read them again, and then we're going to go back to Daniel chapter 9, 25, and I want to read that again, and then there's some other stuff here I want to read. So Luke 19, 43 and 44. For the days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment around you, surround you, and close you in on every side, and level you and your children within you to the ground, and they will not leave in you one stone upon another, because you did not know the time of your visitation. Okay? And then remember, the next thing that happens is that in these other passages, scriptures down until 48, he goes into the temple and overturns the tables, and to do this would be very, very bad. But he had every right to do it. It was his father's table. It was his house. It represents him and his sacrifice. So he had every right to do this. But I'm telling you, if he would have, if when he did this, this was bad, and the people would look upon it very bad. Like, okay, let's say it's December. Let's just say September 12th, after the bombings after the airplanes flew into the towers and everything. If you'd have went outside and burned a flag, stepped on it, whatever, yeah, you probably would have been in big, big trouble. This is about the same thing, okay? Or even Pearl Harbor, December 8th, if you'd have done that, December 7th was Pearl Harbor. If you'd have, desecrated the flag, even back then, yeah, it was a bad, bad thing to do. Jesus had every right to do it, but as you can see, if the people saw this, we can kind of see where they would kind of turn on him. All right, so, but that's just a point, just noting that. And then actually, I think after that, it even goes to where it talks about, I'm not sure which gospel talks about, the disciples are saying, hey, look at all these buildings and stuff like that. And he says, I tell you, that there's not going to be one stone left upon another here. And this is what he's talking about. So you go back to Daniel 9, 26. And it says, and after the 62 weeks, Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. Remember, we learned last week that was a judicial cut off. It's kind of an amputation. You were cut off from the land. You were cut off from the people. If you did something bad that was punishable by death, that's what it was. You were cut off. But it says here, but not for himself. So we kind of see that salvation. He gave himself, And then now we move into, and the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end of it shall be with a flood, and until the end of the war, desolations are determined. Okay, so remember, Daniel's praying. Gabriel comes. He wants to know what's going on because they're about ready to go back. They're about ready to build the temple, build the city. They got the command to do it. They go back. They build the city. They build the temple. Then they build the city. It's all built up. And then now, that's in verse 25. In verse 26, it's going to be destroyed. So at the beginning, it's destroyed. That was Solomon's temple. That's one. Then Ezra, Nehemiah rebuild this other temple. That's two. And it's going to be destroyed. So I wanted to read this, and it's kind of a little bit lengthy. Let's see here. Yeah. Now, okay. Yeah. Now, I'm sorry. I should have went to that. Now Jesus quotes, like I said, back here in 43 and 44 of Luke. He says, "And the people of the prince who is to come," remember prince, "shall destroy the city and the sanctuary." Okay? "The end of it shall be with a flood until the end of the war desolations are determined." Okay? So it's going to be, it's going to be bad. So
I have a note on that.
I'm going to read this. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, about the prince that is and the people of the prince that shall come.
Yeah.
The prince that shall come. My Bible is, the prince of verse 26 is the Antichrist, previously introduced in 7:8, 24 and 26, who will make a pact with many of the Jewish people in the beginning of the tribulation period. But in the midst of the week, that's 3.5 years later, Antichrist will break his covenant and desecrate the temple by demanding worship of himself in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be like in 27. Okay. So here what we're talking about is, okay, so let's just do this chronologically. So if you take the first one, and after the 62 weeks, okay, so after the 62 plus 7, we get to 443 years. After that day, March 30th of 33 AD,
Which was when our Messiah came.
is when our Messiah came.
Yes.
Messiah will be cut off. In that week, he will be cut off. And then the people of the prince who is to come. Okay? And I'm going to try to explain that here with this right here. You're on the right track. You're definitely on the right track. And this is something that when we study this and we see these things, like the abomination of desolation, this actually happened before with another guy, and his name was Antiochus Epiphanes, and it was back in 160 BC that he did some terrible things to the Jews, and he come in and did these things, and he set up, they sacrificed a pig on the altar. You don't do that in a Jewish community of a pig, and he set up some other things, but even when we get into this other stuff and we get into the Olivet Discourse, Jesus himself says of this future event that there's going to be another abomination of desolation, okay, in this future event as we see these things chronologically go on and progress. But anyway, I'll try to get this read. And I got this from eyewitnesstohistory.org. If you want to look this up, I thought it was very interesting. I thought it marries very well with what we're talking about. So this is just kind of a historical thing about what was going on in this time frame. Okay, so we have 33 AD, Messiah, the week of the Passion. So in the year 66 AD, the Jews of Judea rebelled against their Roman masters. In response, the Emperor Nero dispatched an army under the generalship of, how did I tell you how to say that? What is it?
I think you said
Yeah, Vespasian, okay, to restore order. By the year 68, resistance in the northern part of the province had been eradicated, and the Romans turned their full attention to the what is it? Subjugation of Jerusalem. That same year, the Emperor Nero died by his own hand, creating a power vacuum in Rome. Okay, so Emperor Nero committed suicide, is what happened. Okay, in the resultant chaos, Vespasian, I don't know why I want to say that, but was declared emperor. Okay, so he was declared emperor and returned to the imperial city. It fell to his son Titus to lead the remaining army in the assault on Jerusalem. Okay, so Vespasian is the emperor, and his son is remaining with the army. So if Vespasian is the emperor, what does that make Titus? He's the prince of the people, the Roman people. Okay, so if his dad's the king and he's the son, that makes him prince. Okay. Let me get to the rest of this. The Roman legions surrounded the city and began to slowly squeeze the life out of the Jewish stronghold. By the year 70, the attackers had breached Jerusalem's outer walls and began a systematic ransacking of the city. The assault culminated in the burning and destruction of the temple that served as the center of Judaism. So we see back in here, it says, chronologically, and the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. All right. Get to the next one here. Okay, so in victory, the Romans slaughtered thousands. And this is a reference to what Jesus was talking about in 43 and 44. Of those spared from death, thousands more were enslaved and sent to toil in the mines of Egypt. Others were dispersed to arenas throughout the empire to be butchered for the amusement of the public. The temple's sacred relics were taken to Rome, where they were displayed in celebration of the victory. What does God tell us in the scriptures? That if the people do not obey him, what is he going to do? He's going to scatter them throughout the lands, just like he did in the exile. The rebellion sputtered on for another 3 years and was finally extinguished in 73 AD with the fall of various pockets of resistance, including the stronghold of Masada, right? Yeah, or whatever. But, so this is, I thought this was really good and made it up really good with what the prophecies are here.
Gosh, when I read about all the thousands were killed and in the enslavement and sent to toil, and think about Hitler.
Yeah.
And do you think he thought he was a Messiah? Because he's not the Messiah. But
He probably,
I don't know, but
he thought of himself a lot.
I think he was just crazy. but
he did, in essence, the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what the Romans did.
yeah, trying to do, And I actually read a very interesting thing when I was going through this, and I kind of wish I would have made a slide about it. But of course, we know that if you go down to 27, if you've read ahead, they're performing sacrifices again. Okay, so there's going to be a third temple. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I thought this was interesting. So, yeah, now I forget what I was going to say. Okay, so if we think about this now, it's a possibility, right, for a third temple, because what thing would have to happen for them to have a temple? And I'll just tell you,
Reinstate the sacrifice.
no, they would have to become a country again, because see, they weren't a country. See what God did here? He spread them out. So in 1948, they became a country. That's really good. That's awesome. And at midnight of that night, or I can't remember when it was, they became a country. And at 11 minutes after midnight, what was the first country that recognized them as a country?
United States.
The United States. Truman. At 11 minutes after midnight. A very interesting story, and just it's a wonderful thing. It really, really is, and it's an exciting thing because we live in a generation where we know that Israel's a country, and that's good. That's really, really good, So we can see these things progressing.
Closer to heaven.
That's right. Every second we're getting closer. But August 29th, 70 AD, the second temple was destroyed, just as Daniel and Jesus said. They both said it. 70 AD, Titus and the Roman army marched on Jerusalem.
And I found in Matthew a reference, Matthew 24:15. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, that you've been talking about,
Mm-hmm.
spoken of by Daniel the prophet,
Mm-hmm.
stand in the holy place.
Yep.
Whosoever readeth, let him understand.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to get into that in 27. We're going to lay that all out. Because if you remember, we have 7 weeks and 62 weeks. We have one more week. There's one more week that God's going to deal with us. And that's going to be a very exciting time for us. So don't give up. We'll learn about the third temple next week.
Kind of attractions.
Yeah. So this is honestly.
Yes, the spellbinding
Yeah.
summary of the third temple.
Yeah. Honestly, when I read when I read that in Luke, it really gets me. It does, because to see that and to see how they missed it and to see how Jesus wept over them, his chosen people, but it's all a plan, it's not random, it's all a plan. So, and then, we'll be in Daniel 9:27.
And I'm gonna miss this week, it's not fair.
You gonna miss next week?
On Wednesday, I come back on like midnight.
Oh, okay.
Might
But-
just be getting started.
That's right.
But
We can talk about it.
look it up. Lynn's given a lot of good hints. She's read 27. She's been in the Olivet Discourse, Matthew 24. Read it all. It mentions several times. And I'm not sure if it's mentioned anywhere else. I think it is, but yeah, we're going to get to where we're going to look at all those abominations and stuff like that. So, but anything. It's all yours, Adam.
All right.
I definitely will look at Palm Sunday differently.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, doesn't it just? I mean, it just, like I said, it just blew my mind. I'm like, how? You know, you always thought, you know, hey, this is a triumphal entry, and that's all it is. But then you get the backstory to it, and it's like, what? They missed it, you know, so, yeah.
Yeah, you gonna put announcements up there? Announcements?
Did you get it back?
The devil was fighting us.
What?
It comes from there.
Every time I'm not out here, it does.
We did Sunday.
But remember, we're just, we got regular service this Sunday. We'll have communion Wednesday night of the business meeting. Sunday afternoon, if you're able to, 2:30, we're going to the nursing home in Montgomery.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's with BJ&M.
Can you hear?
And then 13th, we got Help Ministry in Laurel Court, so we'll go listen to that. Not that we're gonna do it, we're just gonna listen to it. And we'll see where we go from there, so. I guess that's about all we got going on, so. Keep everybody coming, inviting people, and tell them about Mount Olive, what they're missing out. All right, Gavin, you ready?
Yes.
It's just me and you, I'll stand up front with you.